What is the connection between magic and aliens, that is, jinns? Now, having briefly shown the logic of magic, let us show concrete evidence of the connection between magic and demons, that is, evil aliens. Remember from the second section, through the words of scientists, we explained that dimensional beings are made up of subatomic particles, scientifically, and live in a dimension above us. And in the third and fourth sections, we showed concrete evidence of the existence of jinn. Also, remember from the second section, we explained in detail that there is a magnetic field around people depending on their thoughts and way of life. And we mentioned that demons can only affect people if there is a magnetic gap. Therefore, for demons to be effective in our dimension, magic is needed to create a magnetic gap for them. And demons use sorcerers to create this magnetic opening. The task of sorcerers is to provide magnetic openings for demons in this world. As a result, that is the purpose of evil people using magic, to influence people's will. So, as you will see in this documentary, the logic of magic is that people want to communicate with demons to get help from them, and demons want to control people through magic. Along with all this, all the information about magic and wizards from all over the world states that magic is done by contacting dimensional beings, especially those in the form of snakes. You can come across this in every video you watch about magic. According to the common view, accepted by all cultures and religions, no matter how magic is practiced, it is always done with the help of demons. In fact, logically, there must be a means to establish communication between humans and these dimensional beings. This method of communication is called magic. If you remember, in our third and fourth parts, we presented evidence that jinns are the same as aliens, and that there are two types of jinns, reptiles and greys. Then we talked about the communication with wise dragons in modern magic, and that Aleister Crowley, the founder of modern witchcraft, encountered a gray alien in his magic. Here you see one of the modern shamans having a gray alien figure on them. All shamans who go into trance through magic say that they communicate with wise spirits and receive information from them. These spirits are in the form of snakes or represent snakes. Therefore, many snake and dragon figures can be found on shamans. In this video, a shaman claims to communicate with spirits and receive help from them.
Back probably about 100,000 years, if not more. It was a spiritual practice that was practiced by all peoples around the world. But we're going to be looking at what is it that all shamans around the world do, whether they're in Siberia, Australia, Africa, North or South America. It's a very powerful practice for being able to get spiritual information, but it's also a way of life. And one of my spiritual helpers is the Egyptian goddess Isis. And she gave me a really beautiful metaphor to teach me about this. So in this workshop, think about that the spirits are doing a very intimate dance with you.
In this video, a shaman researcher explains how shamans take orders from snake-shaped spirits.
I am telling you exactly what the shaman told me. This shaman was haunted by spirits before he became a shaman. When the spirits haunted him, he had to accept the spirit. When he accepted the spirit, he became a shaman. The spirit was the shaman's great-great-grandfather. Because the spirits haunted him, this shaman accepted the spirit into his body. If he didn't accept the spirit, he would be struck by the spirit. There are 108 ropes hanging down from the shaman's clothes. These represent 108 snakes. This is necessary for water spirits. There are 108 beads on the beads on his rosary. These also represent 108 snakes.
In shamanism, which is passed down from generation to generation, shamans always take lessons from wise beings and are in communication with them. These wise beings can be none other than the aliens, which we have proven to be the same all over the world. If you have watched our previous episodes, you know that these beings called spirits, ghosts, jinns, aliens, demons, and gods all have the same characteristics, so they are actually the same beings. The fact that the beings that are communicated with through magic all over the world and in all cultures appear in the form of gray aliens and reptiles when they take on a concrete form is proof that the same beings are always communicated with through magic. In short, magic is a tool used to ask for help from the aliens, who are supposed to be wise beings. We will explain in detail in the following chapters that magic has been seen in all polytheistic religions in history. Indeed, in all magic books, we see depictions of alien, snakes, reptilians, gray aliens, or beings in forms that frighten humans are depicted in all magic books. Remember, we talked about the Prophet Muhammad saying that the jinn who cast spells could change shape. This is because objects in other dimensions can easily change shape. Similarly, in all polytheistic religions, magic was used to communicate with gods, and gods conveyed their desires to humans through magicians. Magicians were the messengers of gods.
Many Native American cultures believed God spoke to them through shamans, much like the oracles of ancient Greece.
Hence, the foundation of polytheism is magic. As we all know, the clergy of polytheistic religions are always magicians. The aliens, who already present themselves as gods, need a channel of communication, so magic, in order to display their abilities and prove themselves as gods. That's why in ancient history, magician priests have always been messengers of alien gods. In ancient Egypt, there were many types of priests, and among their functions, magic held an important place. The Pujari priests of ancient India were magicians. The Druid priests of ancient Rome and Celts were magicians. The Volk priests of ancient Slavic Russians were magicians. The Magi priests of ancient Persians were magicians. The voodoo priests in Africa are also referred to as voodoo magicians. Shamans, similarly present in Asia and the Americas since ancient times, were also sorcerers and communicated with the gods. In ancient times, all these magicians communicated with gods. Today also all magicians and shamans claim to communicate either with spirits, aliens, or wise snakes, namely reptilians. In this video, Dr. Michael Heiser discusses how in ancient times magicians communicated with snakes.
3,000 years ago, they would have read this story and really thought that they were talking snakes. Really? Ancient people knew that snakes do not talk. They weren't stupid. Okay? They knew that animals didn't talk. And so when they encounter this in a story, when they encounter this in a poem, when they encounter this in some, epic that tells their story, they're not going to think, wow, there must have been a time when snakes talked. What they're going to think and what they're going to suspect is, okay, this isn't normal. The gods must be up to something. There's something going on with this animal. It's either a disguise, it's a deity that comes in this form. And I just want to read you a few sections here. Serpents in Egypt are also connected with occult wisdom. The uraeus is sometimes invoked as a magician. The uraeus, again, is that serpentine figure that's like on the Egyptian crown. And many gods, especially the primeval gods, were represented in serpent form. An Egyptian reading one of their texts, when they encounter this is what they would have been thinking. This is not just a snake. It's not really a snake like we know snakes. It's a supernatural being, and it's up to something. The idea that animals in general, and serpents in particular, could communicate with humans is common in Egyptian literature. Again, the ancient person, it's also common in Mesopotamian literature. I mean, we can't, go through all of this. Why does this information from the ancient Near East tell us about Genesis 3, or what does it tell us? Because the New Testament development of Christian theology, there's a divine being here who has come to the humans, Adam and Eve, either as a serpent or in the form of, or again, something that looks serpentine, whatever it was. The appearance itself doesn't really matter. But there's a divine being here, and this is a figure who is supernatural, who is a figure of disorder and is the enemy of God. And when you think about it, this fits precisely into the ancient world.
Again, in many ancient texts and historical records, it is written that magic was taught to humans by the gods. As we will see in the section about the Noah flood, the Dead Sea Scrolls state that gods from heaven taught humans magic and sorcery. The Book of Enoch from ancient times also mentions that gods from heaven taught humans magic. According to the Hittite texts, Hittite gods taught magic to humans. Hermes Trismegistus, the famous cleric who spread the polytheistic religion of Mu to colonial countries, is also known as the founder of sciences such as magic and alchemy. According to Islamic sources, it is the demons, the infidel jinn, who benefit from magic and try to spread it. As stated in the Quran, humans were taught magic by devils.
In fact, Solomon was never involved in any practice of disbelief, but the Satans who taught magic to the people were themselves guilty of disbelief.
The great Islamic scholar Ibn Khaldun also mentions that magic is done with the help of jinn.
Le captage. Le captage, ça consiste à attraper les djinns pour les convertir en islam. Comment est-il possible qu'un être humain attrape les djinns? Quand quelqu'un a été possédé, il a fait des crises, les djinns en parlaient par sa bouche. Et bien une fois qu'il est guéri, ça laisse une ouverture entre lui et le monde des djinns, qui fait qu'il peut les attraper juste en demandant à Allah tabaraka. Et la fille voudrait quitter la religion malbar, mais le prêtre lui a dit que si elle quitte, il faut qu'elle paye 5 000 €, sinon elle va avoir trop de problèmes. En même temps, le garçon a peur parce qu'il y a beaucoup d'autres garçons malbar qui convoitent cette fille, donc il a peur qu'il lui fasse la sorcellerie. Donc on va, Inch'Allah, chercher tous les djinns qui sont relatifs à cette histoire. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أينما تكونوا يأتيكم الله جميعا على كل شيء قدير.
Par quelle magie avez-vous appelé?
Nous t'avons appelé par la parole d'Allah. أينما تكونوا يأتي بكم الله جميعا.
Je n'ai pas parlé.
Tu veux pas parler avec moi?
Non. Et
Mais
tu m'approches pas.
Tu veux même pas que je m'approche de moi? Tu vas pas me dire que tu as peur de moi?
C'est pas toi, c'est ce que tu dégages.
Il y a quelque chose qui se dégage de moi? C'est quoi?
Un espèce de...
In ancient times, in civilizations such as Mu, Atlantis, and their colonies like Maya, Greek, Egypt, India, and China, where polytheistic peoples lived, magic spread to all aspects of life, and there were also gods who took a special interest in magic. For example, the Egyptian god Thoth is the founder of secret sciences and the king of magicians. The Greek goddesses of magic are Hecate and Circe. The Slavic goddess of magic is Marzana. The Celtic goddess of magic is Danu. In these polytheistic societies, magic was so widespread that people attributed everything to magic. Even science, as we will see in more detail later, was given to humans by the gods through magic. For this reason, people at that time saw even every prophet as a powerful magician.
Does it seem strange to people that we should have revealed to a man from among themselves, directing him to warn the people who lie engrossed in heedlessness, and to give good news to the believers that they shall enjoy true honor and an exalted status with their Lord? Is this so strange that the deniers of the truth should say, "This man is indeed an evident sorcerer"?
Even Jesus, who saved people from jinn, was called a magician.
Then they brought him a demon-possessed man who was blind and mute, and Jesus healed him so that he could both talk and see. All the people were astonished and said, "Could this be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, "It is only by Beelzebul, the prince of demons, that this fellow drives out demons."
Christian sources also indicate the connection between magic and jinn. It is narrated that bewitched people have jinn inside them.
While they were going out, a man who was demon-possessed and could not talk was brought to Jesus. And when the demon was driven out, the man who had been mute spoke. The crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." Then he told her, "For such a reply you may go. The demon has left your daughter." She went home and found her child lying on the bed and the demon gone.
Again, the Torah emphasizes the relationship between jinns and witchcraft.
When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before the Lord your God.
Like in Islam, magic is considered a major sin in Christianity. The recognition of magic as a criminal offense in Christianity began in the era of Emperor Constantine the Great. St. Augustine, in his classic work, The City of God Against the Pagans, saw the founders of arts like prophecy and fortune-telling as demons. According to him, all magic was performed by demons. Again, in Europe, witches were executed for being practitioners of polytheistic religions. According to historians today, witches in Europe has its origins in ancient goddesses and magic. According to the Torah, magicians did their work by consulting jinn.
O Belteshazzar, head of the necromancers, since I know that the spirit of holy angels is in you, and no secret is hidden from you, this is the vision of my dream that I saw. Now tell me its interpretation.
So in this case, we understand that witchcraft has something to do with dimensional beings. Logically, there must be a cause that generates metaphysical events in magic, and this cause can only be dimensional beings.